I'm used to being held under scrutiny.
Look, I'm sure both of you are under a lot of scrutiny.
But it does come with certain pressures and intense scrutiny.
Hey, welcome to TalkWord. This is where we grab words straight from the news and, really bring them to life. And today we've got a word that is right smack in the middle of a massive global story that's unfolding as we speak.
So if you've been anywhere near the news lately, you've probably seen a headline just like this one. I mean, it's a huge story, right? It's all about the world's most powerful companies and this big race to control the future of AI.
So what's going on here? Well, basically, governments in the US and in Europe are getting, a little worried. They're looking at these giant tech companies and thinking, are they getting too powerful? Could they be creating these monopolies that might squash any new ideas from smaller companies? But here's the thing. There is one little word in that headline that unlocks this entire story.
And that word, it's scrutiny. This is the key. It's the word that tells you exactly what these tech companies are up against.
So what does that even mean? When a company is under scrutiny? It sounds pretty serious, and, well, it is. But what's actually happening? Let's break it all down.
All right, let's dive in and take a closer look at what scrutiny really means and how you'll see it used out in the wild. Okay, so at its core, scrutiny is all about taking a really close, really careful, and often critical look at something. This isn't just a quick glance. No way. It's a deep, detailed investigation to figure out if everything is, on the up and up. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine you're putting something under a microscope. You're not just looking at it, you're zooming in to see every single detail. That intense, super focused examination, that is scrutiny.
And once you know what it means, you'll start seeing this word everywhere. For example, a restaurant's hygiene standards. They might face scrutiny from health inspectors. Or think about a company's data privacy practices after a big leak. They'll for sure be under intense scrutiny. Even a new law will go through a ton of scrutiny in the press before it gets passed. See the pattern? In every single one of these cases, it's all about that careful, critical examination.
Okay, now for my favorite part. Every word has an origin story, right? And trust me, the backstory for scrutiny is, well, it's pretty surprising.
So you'd think a word that's all about careful, close examination would have a really clean, maybe even academic origin story, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Its history is, and I'm not kidding here, literally rooted in trash.
Okay, get this. The word comes from the Latin verb scrutare, which means to search, simple enough. But scrutare itself comes from the noun scruta, and scruta meant, wait for it, trash, rags, junk. So way back when, to scrutinize something literally meant to sort through a pile of rubbish, looking for something valuable. How cool is that? Over centuries, that idea of a really careful search through a mess evolved into the meaning we have today, a close, careful search for the truth. Okay, so now that we know the definition and its surprisingly messy origin story, let's loop all the way back to that headline and put it all together.
So when that headline says antitrust scrutiny, we get it now, right? It means regulators are doing a close, critical examination of how these companies do business. They're not literally sorting through rags anymore, but they are sorting through company records, emails, data, and business strategies, looking for clues.
And that's the bottom line. The word scrutiny tells us that this is not just some casual look. Nope. Governments are putting the actions of these giant companies right under the microscope. They're digging deep into the details to figure out if their power in the world of AI is fair and legal, or if it's actually hurting competition for everybody else.
So, there you have it, the whole story of scrutiny. It really makes you think, doesn't it? So I'm curious, what other words have you seen in the news lately that you'd want to put under this kind of close examination?
Well, guess what? You can totally do that. If you had fun breaking this word down with me, you should definitely check out the TalkWord app. You can take any word you're curious about, and I mean any word, and create your very own explainer, just like this one, to really master it. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.
Once again, her judgments under scrutiny.
You've been under close scrutiny ever since that split decision victory.